Day one of week 3 continues. Now on your screen, Luminosity versus Eager.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to see if BaRRaCCuDDa can continue this streak of playing the easiest role in the game.
Are you just going to keep firing shots there?
It's so easy.
Is that the game now?
It's so easy.
Well,
you
talk about,
shoot in the straight line.
You said continue winning ways, and they did win their last set.
They did. It
Meanwhile,
was pretty
Eager,
great,
they had the opposite.
Yeah.
They didn't win their last set, so tell of two different teams here, both trying to either keep a record or get back onto winning ways.
So a few points from me here. djpernicus going up against andinster. DJ has been, I think, statistically the weakest jungler right now in North America, comparatively to Andy, who has, maybe not this season, but has been one of the most, if not the most celebrated jungler in the game's history. He's going to have a pretty big ask to step his game up this week, as well as Snoopy, new to the solo role, pretty good last time that we saw him. In fact, very good. Going to be going up against Divios.
And Divios, to be fair, was celebrating himself for a long season for the most part until Cyclone Spin appeared, and then Omega climbed his way back to top charts as well. Then Baskin joined them, and Divios hit a bench, and now he's back on Eager.
Yeah, a little bit strange.
It's pretty much the story. Let's go into picks and bans, though, and bring you the tale of these two teams. Well, first of all, let's just have a little look here. This is an interesting one. Luminosity and Eager, both these two teams, have only found wins on their current sides that they're on this game. Eager has only found wins on Order. Luminosity has only found wins on Chaos.
That's curious. Huh.
That's stats.
Raijin and Thor are going to be taken away. Will Luminosity continue the streak of banning Ratatoskr against Eager? I will find out. Need one more ban from Eager first.
Now, for the most part, Eager's played with the same composition, two different sets. They've basically switched things up based on their opposition in terms of their bans.
Right.
They've been very focused. And even when they've lost, they've relatively run the same composition back twice, both games, to try and believe that it's going to work.
So Capri going to be taken away, as well as Cirquet. Targeting assassins is Team Eager. It's possible that we'll see a Kali pick to start, given the fact that it is available. Ao Kuang's still available as well, and it, yes, will be Kali.
And Luminosity, with that ban of Capri, they continue the same trend of always banning it in every single game. They've banned it every single game so far. Continue what works.
You say Capri.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Capri kind of breaks the game a little bit. You know, when you think about broken versus overpowered, there's a very distinct difference. Overpowered means it's above the point of balance. Broken means that it breaks the way that the game is intended to be played. And allowing a character to go into a tier 2 tower, dive for people, and get out of that alive while wasting ultimates, it breaks the way that you have learned how to play the game. Capri changes how you think the game should be played.
Kali does that too.
Yes, she does.
So,
can't ban everything.
Okay, fine. Isis Odin locked in by Luminosity. Immediately, Zeus picked up by Eager once again. TheBest has gone to this multiple times already, and he's happy to do so again.
I like it in response to the Odin. Given the fact that he, puts it down, he can ensure a little bit more safety. They can't overcommit. Isis being picked up so early, I think, is a strong testament to what we're going to see from the mid lane. That is a very aggressive pick especially against Zeus. I'm surprised that TheBest has opted back into this pick, despite the fact that Isis was picked on so early.
And the Hoagie picked up for Eager there. One of the most dominant hunters at the moment in the SPL. Pretty much first picked in the AD carry role every single game if it's available. And we generally see after that either Anher or mages be picked up.
See, the soul was picked up, so BaRRaCCuDDa can say, I played a mage DM. All right, listen, I wasn't even playing a hunter.
I bet that goes mid, nice, and they'll run someone else. Isis solo, Rosalia. Isis solo. Same sort of thing.
I'm pointing at the screen he was already ready for it.
Bacchus and Awil expand out by the two teams already. Like the Awil expand up against Kali, obviously, you've got Kali that's going to want to jump away. Hoyi want to jump away. Awil great with that ultimate to counteract that.
Athena, no problem. A few support shots here. Luminosity taking 3 away, and it's going to be 4 assassins taken away by Team Eager.
But taking away Guardians away from Aror, is that really the strongest idea? Auror's god pool is very flexible. Do you remember the old Fenrir days?
Yeah. He's
run Fenrir, he's run Awilish before. They banned them themselves this time, though, however. But he's quite happy to mix things up.
Geb is still available, notably. Surprising. Not taking that away, opting for Bacchus instead as Nasha gets locked in for the jungle. Odin is in a flex pick right now for either support or solo as Team Eager looks for their final 2 picks, most notably for Divios. What will he decide?
Well, Kumbhakarna going to be locked in for Aurora. First time we've seen him on that so far this season. He's played Ymir, Athena, and Sobek, 3 that I know for a fact. Oh, am I right with that? Maybe I'm wrong. No, Capri and Ymir are the 2 he's played. That's my bad.
Team Eager's final pick is going to be Ravana for the solo lane.
That's Ratatoskr.
Yeah, no rat makes it all the way through picks and bans. I think that is the first time that we have seen Team Eager play a game without that being picked or banned.
Is that why Luminosity left their solo pick for last, just in case? Because they could put Odin there instead against Rat, which
That was also
pins him
probably
in.
the reason that Fenrir was taken away as well.
Keeps him pinned in there. Final pick for Luminosity, then we'll find out if Odin will be support or it'll be solo. It will be a support Odin, as Amaterasu will be locked into fight, take on that Ravana.
Okay, so endgame Luminosity has a much stronger comp, aside from the fact that Kali exists. They do have a way to shut her down, but you think about soul damage, Nasha can immediately erase anyone on the field. Isis has the best objective control out of anyone on the map right now. Odin has a lot to cover, and then, of course, Amaterasu versus Ravana. There's hands down belongs to Amaterasu.
We're going to go straight to game and tune in with Aror. He's going to go very deep on the left-hand side, looking for an early ward before he heads back to his half. Not picked up a relic yet, so we'll see where he ends up going with that. And likewise in relics, Snoopy on that Amaterasu had a very good game. Oh, DJ, a little bit overextended here.
He is very smart to have juked as hard as he did. Had he gotten hit immediately by that Stellar Burst, he would have been slowed and likely would have been killed, because take a look at the Greed Boys here. djpernicus left the base without taking his beads. This is generally seen as a misnomer. Had he got hit by that Stellar Burst and then followed up with anything else, it was a likely first blood.
Now, he's had to take his jump at level 1 on Kali as well to get away from that. Is that going to impact his clear at the beginning?
Well, actually, let's check in with Kali. I actually don't know how much damage. I think it's low. Can we actually hover on Nimble Strike, please? We're going to be looking for the level 1 damage. It's 70, plus, basically no scaling.
Yep.
So 70 damage as opposed to the Lash, which is going to wind up bleeding out. Winds up doing a lot less. You can see 35 per blade, so automatically 105. Plus the bleed damage going for quite some time. So it's like 120, 130 damage versus 70. So yeah, that can hurt.
And you can also see that they've actually gone for the back Harpy start here as well. Potentially they could have looked for those mid Harpies. I think that they may have looked for that. But safest option, obviously, when you've only got that jump at the beginning.
Safety is for cowards.
And I was going to say, but to be fair, safety's for cowards, but why not go for the mids anyway? You got jump, so if you get engaged on, jump out.
Exactly. On top of the fact that it's Ravana in the early game against Ami. Like, that is a joke matchup. Although djpernicus is very smart to use Nimble Strike at the end of that engagement on the blue buff. This ensures a health regen, plus the Bumba's Mask puts him right back to full, and he got his blades anyway.
Well, everybody gets to lane about the relative time. Right Harpy's going to go the way of Eager. Luminosity not interested. They'll go to the left-hand side. Duo lane is Sol and Odin up against Kumbhakarna and Hoi. And I'll guarantee you now, Luminosity will have lane dominance for a while.
I want to see some major aggression. Plain and simple. I want to see TheBest get deep into this. Throw that shield down real deep, cover that wave immediately, and try to rush down this Isis. But I was going to say before she gets into level 3 and that Wind Gust becomes impossible to deal with.
But the problem is that by throwing that shield down further away, you've got to walk up to auto it to continue applying the pressure. Then you're going to step into Sash or even Ring Toss and Sash.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Well, we'll see. Tune into solo lane for the first time today. Divios on that Ravana will have a definitely easy time in the early stages. Amaterasu just there to farm. And Snoopy, to his credit, is doing a good job on this Amaterasu in previous games on just focusing on farm and not taking too much poke.
Which is what he should be doing. I mean, early game, even with Bluestone, has a very hard time clearing the wave unless she uses the dash as well, which is, generally speaking, not a great idea. Oh, right there it was a good idea. Blocking Divios right in the front, forcing him to take a tower shot as well. Divios took a lot of damage there. You can see forced to use his pots pretty early.
A little bit late on that overhead kick as well. He could have escaped the damage from that turret strafe, would have done so, but didn't find it, so under pressure.
Well, what happened was he got silenced. I mean, the dash winds up shutting the ability down for the overhead kick, so he can't immune it right away. And given the fact that he started off with Prana Onslaught, there was actually no chance for him to use it to even dodge the dash either. Snoopy covered every single option available to Divios once he started that attack, and it was real smart.
Invasion from Luminosity on the back left and Harpies here. This is able because they've got pressure in mid and in the duo lane as well, which has allowed it. You even saw we even saw JeffHindla rotate into the jungle there just for safety, for support in case he was needed. And talk about supports a little bit more. Both of them gone for Blink early on.
Speaking of andinster, talking about that Nasha, he is always been to me one of the most impressive players I've ever seen. And I've been in games with him a fair amount of times. And, it's Andy. You want to avoid him in the early game. But I always have this very distinct memory of him playing Nasha on my team. And he wound up sashing one person, ringing a second person to catch up to the third person in the back with the ultimate at max range. And it was just a very, on paper, very basic play, but it was so masterfully executed that it honestly makes me scared when he plays this god, because I know how mechanically brilliant he is. And if this game is going to be quick, I think it's going to be because andinster pops off.
We'll see if he does pop off. You saw him pressure the dual lane for a second there.
Here we go.
Now he's swinging around the back to see if anybody's going to come around here looking for those back harpies, which are down. Actually, no, the red buff is what they were actually looking at here, trying to catch him on a rotation round for it. Instead, rotates back to mid with Odin in support, and they will just push in mid lane instead.
A 4-man rotation to the red ensures that, yes, it will stay safe. You actually see Luminosity start to back off as it was called. I think that was BaRRaCCuDDa saying, listen, duo's rotating. You guys got to get out of there.
Yeah, just dip from there immediately. And as well, you're not going to see Zapman lose any farm over in that dual lane. He'll be back at his towering time, so a little bit of an experience for him. Still a little bit of handling experience right now against BaRRaCCuDDa, but that's just because he's not farmed this wave yet.
Zapman should be okay here. We should see him get into level 6. It might be close. Yes, just barely. One creep in, actually. BaRRaCCuDDa, though, still with a slight advantage in gold. You see about 200.
And over in the mid lane, we actually saw both sets of Harpies go the way of Luminosity there, especially with Snoopy's rotation. Over to the right-hand side, him combining as well to pick that up with JeffHindla. And left-hand side went the way of the mid and jungle of Luminosity.
And over in the solo lane, Divios gets the lane actually before Snoopy, but the minions actually wind up playing favor to Luminosity as Snoopy only winds up losing 2. Divios lost 1 before even getting into the lane, so Snoopy gets a pretty big handle on that one. But as you can see, Divios. Oh, nice block!
The block was fantastic. I'm not sure if Divios realized he was going to be able to block that. He could have potentially with the ult.
He knew.
Could he find a kill with the ult there if he went for it?
No. I think if she went into her ultimate a la Guan Yu, she would have been able to control him with the overhead kick down, and he doesn't have any form of CC immunity. But strangely enough, Snoopy's dash, the Amaterasu dash, it has a huge, very wide hitbox. It's actually very easy to block.
Can be blocked by walls, though. The Amaterasu. You talk about Amaterasu ultimate?
Yeah, I mean, just by standing in front of it. It's very, very simple. Whereas Athena's is very thin, hers is almost double the width, it seems.
Well, Divios there went for the imps, didn't go for the board that was up on Snoopy's side. Snoopy lost a whole wave to the tower there, as he was forced back to base with not having teleport. And once again, he comes back, and he's getting beat down again.
Yeah, look at the damage coming through. And he's going to have Prana Onslaught up in a second again. And he's really just very wise to continue stacking that shield up. That way he's trading out damage that he has to be expendable. He wants to use that damage. So
and a lot of mention of Ravana in the game. His early game dominance is strong. His mid game is pretty good, but at the late game he seems to suffer a little bit.
Just because his damage. I mean, he's all scaling. Oh, Jesus! Speaking of scaling,
that reflection back was huge from Snoopy. He timed it perfectly to deal it all back. Remember, it takes a percentage of damage and then reflects it back at his target. And well, Divios gets punished there as Eager take their back right harpies there with Aror and DJ in tow.
And predictably so, it will be a Breastplate of Valor coming out for both of the solo laners. I'm interested to see where the supports are going to go. JeffHindla immediately taking the Jigs build and going in, foregoing the boots and going into the Wing Blade, whereas Kumbhakarna goes into a less traditional Traveler shoes for extra gold movement speed.
Extra gold movement speed and the health regen is a lot of things people underestimate about that. And the health regen really does help you out sometimes. As you can see, he can now buy multi-potions or just mana potions and have wards still in his inventory, not have to invest into both of you, wants to stay sustained.
You'll also note that both supports, instead of choosing the Shell or Sprint, which has been so popular, go for Blink. Ensuring major interruption. Now, one of the reasons you're seeing Kumbhakarna in this game is Kumbhakarna is the best support in the game against Soul, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We got some trouble.
Zeus is in a large triple circle protection down on him as well, but it doesn't explode to kill him. TheBest will survive there and get away from the danger, but maybe Eager could reaggress. There's a teleport coming in from Snoopy there to support as Divios swings around the back and they don't spot him yet. BaRRaCCuDDa will, though, as he gets punched in the back of his feathered head. He's still alive, though, but for how long?
Prana Onslaught coming up in a few seconds, diving deep, real strong, gonna find first blood for Big Divios.
But the bombs come raining down from Zapman to create a zone, and there's another one in an awkward spot. Will get away from the danger as we stay tuning with Divios there. Good rotation from him, and first blood the way of Eager.
That's a really big deal. Getting that kill onto Divios as early as possible so that he can get this breastplate online is going to be massive. He wants to get that early cooldown reduction, which allows him to continue that rush down. I mean, there was a point where BaRRaCCuDDa almost got out of that escape because he didn't have the Prana Onslaught available to him because of how long the cooldown is. Now with 25% reduction coming off that pretty soon, as we'll take a look at Golden Hand, we're looking for 1350 on, and it looks like he's about 800 right now. So that's important. Comparatively, actually, Snoopy is actually right behind him, 780.
Staying pace for the time being as well. He's down about 250 gold, though, in that lane Snoopy is at the moment, which isn't too much to his detriment, considering he is Amaterasu early, and he's got to play defensive. He got bullied out of lane, though, and that one minion wave of experience that he lost also lost him that gold.
Best coming back into mid lane.
How did Best end up surviving that engagement? I wasn't sure the circle protection was down, but it didn't do any damage, it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have Sanctuary. But, I don't know, he took a fair amount of his own health. Remember, that's his Zeus ult inside the Odin ring, right? Like, it really was the only damage coming at him.
Chin's being worked on as well by djpernicus. Went for the Ninja Tabby on the Collie. So not going to have that power spike that you get from Warrior Tabby, which can help. Instead, he's going for the attack speed option. I guess he's just looking for the in-hands as quick as possible.
So he might be able to get one more attack in off the stun. Usually when you have a Collie without a Fatalis, you're going to either jump or blink in, one auto stun or immediately stun, one auto into the lash, and then you get 2 to 3 hits depending on attack speed early game. He might get 3 to 4 now, which means he'll apply an extra hit of the chin size, but without Fatalis, he's not going to be able to stick to anyone.
But realistically, by the time he gets that chins online, he should hit level 12 about the same sort of timing, which means his blink will be there as well, so that power spike becomes bigger. They look for the ring on him. JeffHindla's not going to be upset about that. The cooldown is very, very low on that ring, so, you know, a few more seconds, they'll be back up.
I'm not going to let you defend that.
Allied says 4 seconds.
Oh, it's back off cooldown
There
already.
you go, I told you. Allied says it's 4 seconds, that cooldown.
Divios continues the
Proxy.
pattern of proxy as we have seen from our solo
But I
runners.
love the response from Snoopy to go and proxy himself to make sure the lane stays even and he doesn't get out-rotated.
Yeah, his rotation's actually better as Divios is taken back to the base. He's level 12.
Snoopy shields up mid.
We're going to see a curse or a shell or a sprint coming out from Divios. Nothing. He takes no... Oh, no, he does get the sprint. And it looks like immediately teleports over.
I'm curious by the Kumbhakarna pick.
I was looking at the wrong side. He's
we
running to base.
Kumbhakarna pick a little bit. Now, Kumbhakarna very, very good against Kali, and I have a feeling that's one of the reasons Eager may have taken that for themselves, is to take the option away. But Gold Fury started him, bursting very heavily. Gold Fury goes away with Luminosity, but will they be fighting toe, going Eager's favor?
They're trying to find the best. He's going to get stunned. Will need to... No, wow. Purification did not come off in time. He gets taken down. Divios trying to jump away as BaRRa burns the ult. There's Andy. Triple kill for BaRRaCCuDDa.
Zapman's now in trouble as well. He will ricochet for a double kill. They set themselves up to return it. Zap goes, hey, Barry, you get a triple, I'll get a double. Line up, please, boys. Get in line, single file. Thanks very much.
We got to check that one
Give
out.
it up.
Let's check the replay here. What is this? Oh, all right, so let's check out BaRRaCCuDDa. He's going to find an early kill. Pretty standard here as Divios overcommits. You're going to see him pick up the final hit here. What a jerk. And then Andy in the backline is going to find an incredible ring, and then BaRRa's just like Stellar Burst.
Yep, and gets it with a Stellar Burst, and then hopefully we see the ricochet. We don't get to see the
we don't.
ricochet. Oh,
Luminosity wins the fight. Luminosity gets the replay.
I don't care. The ricochet was better.
The ricochet
was
better.
Zap was like around the corner, like, come on, guys, come on. You gonna kill me? You gonna kill me? Yeah, no problem. Double kill, thanks very much. Zapman, though, is having a great season. A great season so far.
You know, I would definitely have joined you if that team fight didn't happen and BaRRaCCuDDa wasn't 3 levels ahead of him already.
That's a triple kill of Gold Fury as well. That's the big key there. That's where the advantage is. Actually, let's just check the experience in gold after that little engagement as well, just to show you the huge dip in Luminosity's favor now off that fight.
It's going to be hard for them to come back, too, because you think Kali is an endgame god. Zeus needs a lot of gold to be relevant, even in the mid-game. You know, Ravana starts to fall out of relevancy around level 15, 16, whereas Amaterasu really starts to kick it into gear at that point.
I do like the way they've crafted the composition, though, Eager. They've got Divios for the early game, which we saw get first blood, but the crafting towards late game is how you relevant from mid-game onwards.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kali and Zeus for the late game. So you've crafted it nicely. And Kumbhakarna, his early weak game is okay if you're happy to play defensive on it. His mid and late game is very strong.
Well, you know, I was trying to talk about that before you know, Best got caught in that Odin ult. Kumbhakarna is a direct counter to Soul. In fact, one of the 2 characters in the game that really brings it to her. If at any point she uses Disapparate, he'll be able to blink in right afterwards, knock her up into the sky, and just negate everything. She doesn't have a way to deal with it, and on landing, she will die if her Sanctuary isn't up ASAP.
There's nothing more infuriating than her Disapparating as you ult her, and she lands and takes no damage. Left-hand side, though, Zapman caught by 3. Big rotation coming around from Eager to support him, but it's going to be too little, too late. Luminosity combined with 4 members now there. They'll get the tower as well and walk away unscathed.
Honestly, I'd be pretty peeved if I was that man in that situation and 2 people had enough time to get behind my tower and ult me from the back end. Like, that seems very risky and for some reason wasn't punished at all. In fact, by the time Eager really recognized that it was happening, it was way too late.
And the thing is, though, look at the ward coverage from Luminosity. It's like a Christmas tree on that left-hand side of the map. You can see
doing
this man fight. Uh-oh. DJ's coming.
Yeah, no.
Snoopy was wise to disengage at that exact moment. He knew the bait was potentially there and gets away from it. But the Christmas tree on the map on the left just showed that Luminosity could rotate over there. They had sentry wards in every location that could have possibly been one. So they knew that they were going to get caught, spotted on the rotation.
You know, there was a point in time where the fracture of the Luminosity squad had happened, and JeffHindla wouldn't have been on this roster if it wasn't for some strange changes that happened with Baskin. But I'm very glad to see him back. I mean, it's that kind of warding and that kind of control over the map that I really attribute to Jeff. In fact, can we check wards placed here? Because I'm going to put my money that Jeff's on top.
That was a safe bet. It was a safe bet. Right behind him, though, is djpernicus on the enemy team with a lot from the jungle. Andy, though, not far behind on 4 for the stage of the game. And still domination over this left-hand side of the map.
Again?
Is what they're doing. The blink ult again.
Oh, no. Got him. Oh, no, Sanctuary is
perfectly
perfect.
timed. Avoids the bird bomb, jumps away from danger. Now there's a potential rotation from Eager here. Ricochet missed, unfortunately. Didn't find the stun he was looking for on Andy. But Luminosity will still come out on top as they get the Sanctuary and the red buff.
Yeah, BaRRaCCuDDa's going to take that one. He already has a fully stacked Doom Orb, as well as a decent amount of damage across the board as well. Some pen. BaRRaCCuDDa takes a fair amount of damage there from Zeus. As you see TheBest throwing down that shield chain lightning to get him.
Now they're going to return to the left-hand side of the map.
And the right side.
As well. And the right with Snoopy there too. Divios taking his blue buff at the moment. But so far, since that one engagement of the Gold Fury where Luminosity chose to do the Gold Fury, the game's kind of swung immediately into Luminosity's favor and doesn't seem to be letting up.
Snoopy coming back over to solo lane should be fine, getting some experience here as Divios rotates in as well. Both level 15 as Divios opts into Iqbal, which I really, really like on Ravana at this stage.
Talk about itemization. The supports at the moment gone 2 different builds yet again. We mentioned it earlier on about the boots choices and Wing Blade there. But we've seen Sovereignties, we've seen Hide of the Urchins, and now we see JeffHindla picking up the Spirit Robe this time round instead. Why would you go for the Spirit Robe? Just because you're worried about the extra damage coming in?
Well, I think with Kumbhakarna on the field and djpernicus on the field with a fair amount of AoE CC that is likely to hit him when he rushes down and they have to stop somebody, he's probably going to activate that Spirit Robe passive inside of his ring while the Zeus ult is going off, which should ensure, in a cheap manner considering its cost, a way to survive through the Lightning Storm and give his team a better chance to find another front line.
And then by the time that wears off, you should have your shield back up, your Raven Shout back up to be able to shield yourself and potentially get out with a lunge if you need it. Good situation. Mid lane though, engagement from Divios. Used his ultimate to go aggressive here. Looking for a pick onto andinster. He gets some good damage off, but Andy's fine to just heal under the tower and recall to base.
Divios actually just barely missed the root. Had he hit it, I think things might have been a little bit different. I think Andy would have been forced into an even worse position. He most likely would have been forced back to the base at least, but all the while, Divios rotates into mid, and then over in the right lane, Snoopy starts just laying waste to the tower.
You're talking about right lane. I'm looking at the Gold Fury right now because there's 3 members group there. I thought they were going to actually start that, but no, just going to clear out the ward. Snoopy does get the tier 1 tower in the right side, and objective control is all Luminosities right now.
Another 500 gold for Loom. Puts them 4,300 gold up right now.
It's 4,300 gold. Yes, it's a lead, but is it enough to really like not have to worry about Carly Zeus late game potentially still happening?
No, not quite. As you see, the Fatalis is getting built. My issue here, djpernicus has attack speed, attack speed, attack speed, low damage, high damage, and Chin's passive, and he doesn't have damage on the boots. He doesn't have any penetration, so he's not going to be doing any damage in the mid game. As we get into the 16-17 minute mark, up until about 25-26, we're really not going to see him able to do much damage unless no one is able to peel him, and he can just stick to the boost the whole time, which is unlikely.
If he can sit on the backside, wait for the engagement to begin, and blink in at the right opportune moment after some relics have been used, we'll see if he can actually get himself going. Still working on that Fatalis, though. He's halfway to finish now.
1 relic spot is open, by the way. It looks like Aror, not level 12 yet. I wonder what he's going to pick up. I would assume Shell with this comp, but I mean, how are you going to deal with all that healing without a weakening curse?
Jeff going sprint as well here for the extra mobility for the whole team. Did he steal that?
Stolen!
And Jeff takes it.
Bird bombs.
Odin bird bombs. Oh, yeah.
Red buff bird bombs.
Was he damage charts there? 1,700 for him so far. Quite low for Carly at the moment, djpernicus, but he's really looking for far more than anything else.
He actually has no damage aside from the red buff right now. He has no damage on boots, none on Wingblade, none on Spirit Robe, none on the Watcher skill.
Oh, Auror's going to get silenced. Wing Gusted has to yawn and throw back away back to safety once again. And it looks like Luminosity just looking for a pick here.
See, right there. You know, Jeff goes up into the front line. Oh, wait.
Right
Aurora.
there. Someone goes up into the sky. It was actually a big burst damage onto andinster, who's away from the danger best. Ringed in, but returns fire well. This is a good fight for Iga so far.
Pernicus is getting ignored as they're trying to fight for the backline. BaRRaCCuDDa trying to find a kill as the sprint comes through. Divios desperately trying to find something, but he whiffs. The meditation comes out, and it keeps him alive.
But the team were in position to follow him up. Divios ended up getting himself isolated by diving in so deep. There was no follow-up to that.
Where were they? Honestly, like, djpernicus, they walked by him. He had the opportunity to go back in, especially with his ult up. TheBest could have walked back in. Aror was in a weird spot, I think, and so was Zapman, given that they were pushed out pretty far. But honestly, there should have been backup to Divios there. He was right to make that call.
Well, now with Divios being down, Luminosity turn their attention towards the Gold Fury again. Zapman going to throw the mark out. Aror takes a bird bomb. Thanks for that red buff.
Excuse me, red buff, bird bomb.
Red
exactly.
buff.
Watch your mouth.
I said
respect
the
the buff.
I respect the buff. It's one of the best buffs in the game.
It's actually the only buff.
Left-hand side, there's pressure onto djpernicus now. They're going to cut him off and ring him in. His jump is down. This should be his life. He's going to try and return some damage and buy some time, but it's no time for the jump to come back up. He is down.
It seems like a waste of the ultimate there, but honestly, getting a Kali off the board is definitely worth it. Best in some trouble here. Will escape just barely the Spirit Ball. Silenced by Snoopy and destroyed in the back line. It's a 2v4 here as they continue the pressure. Divios is stuck. Circle of Protection is going to be huge. Aurora will be going down. Nowhere for him to go. Nap time is over.
He'll go to sleep, and that should mean Luminosity should get the Gold Fury off this as well. Not even 20 minutes in, and this is starting to get a little bit too out of control.
You know what the big difference for me there was? The fact that BaRRaCCuDDa lived in a situation where he probably wouldn't have unless JeffHindla hit that sprint exactly when he did. And the big difference there is that JeffHindla was level 12 and Aurora was level 11. The power spike was just enough to win that fight for Luminosity, now leading by 8 kills at the almost 20-minute mark.
And I think the sprint is actually a really good choice from JeffHindla here. He could have gone for Shell, could have gone for Meditation, which we're seeing more of, but the sprint to get away from these auto-attack heavy melee gods in Kali, in Ravana, especially when Ravana's going to have the Frostbound Hammer online, you want to peel for your team as much as possible, and it stops them having to go a defensive route themselves so much.
Pressure in the mid lane as we'll have a 3-man grouping. BaRRaCCuDDa joining the fray here. They already have the tier 1, and it doesn't look like they're going to be greedy enough to go for the tier 2, but they see some camps coming up. It looks like they're going to take their risk here by going to the back line.
Jeff wants his red buff again, that's the key here.
Stolen!
Stolen again, as Jeff did pull the red buff for a second, but they retreat because there's a rotation coming in from Iga that got called there. Multiple members here to defend. Aurora going aggressive with that blink, but he didn't get his yawn off in time. Now he's going to get ringed in. Yawn's 2, uppercuts 1, but he's still trapped in the ring. TheBest drops his ultimate with Zeus, but still, BaRRaCCuDDa will pick up Aurora for free.
They are picking the wrong target with andinster. He is too safe and a beautiful raw ult. Is it going to be enough on the way down? BaRRaCCuDDa finds the kill on djpernicus before the ult goes off. Another one as Andy finds a crit and destruction as Zapman desperately tries to get away. He'll be followed, trying to take a quick path, but JeffHindla is pretty fast.
It's Zapman versus the world. Divios returning to base. Has no teleport to join this action, so Zap has to take on Amaterasu, who just presses ult.
Did he just 360?
I'm not sure if he did.
Production, did Snoopy just do a 360 in the middle of that?
It wasn't a no-scope, I don't think.
It looked like he spun his camera around.
Based off that fight, though, Luminosity should be able to take a tier 2 tower here in the mid lane again. And since this is his team picked up, so he did a 540.
No, it's not a 540. He'll be facing the other way.
Left-hand side. Andy's in trouble. Andy's in trouble here against Divios. Andy's overextended. He's trying to use the minions to block as much as possible. Wait for reinforcements, which finally arrive. And round the back, BaRRaCCuDDa is coming. The ring from Odin is good. And we should see Divios fall down here. No ultimate to escape.
Andy was there for bait. Andy knew that he didn't have his ultimate, and the only way he could die is if he came into melee range after getting hit by the root and a Piranha Onslaught. He moves himself close enough to the ring to barrel him against the wall so he can take the root, steps outside of the range of the Piranha Onslaught to ensure his team gets the kill. Brilliant.
This is the style of Luminosity and the expectation a lot of people had for Luminosity at the start of the season. They're a very good team on paper. They just didn't translate in their first games against Enemy, but my oh my. Their win against Envy looked good, but this one looks better.
Either they're more practiced or Enemy is just unbelievably good.
True story. I mean, Snoopy mentioned that. He said, this is what happens when we get more practice in. That's what he said after the games against Envy. Well, against Eager, they've had more practice by now, and it's paid off. It really is.
andinster for me has been a big key to this. For some reason, Aror is focusing heavily on Nasha and not enough on BaRRaCCuDDa's soul. And as a result, I mean, Andy's getting in and out of these fights very cleanly, and nobody's touching BaRRaCCuDDa. He's one of the 2 people in the game who hasn't died yet. That would, of course, be the Sex Tank duo lane of JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa. He's 5-0-7, a part of 12 kills, and JeffHindla actually a part of 14.
2-0-12 for that support player there. Doing good work for himself. BaRRaCCuDDa, though, on the other hand, 4-8 at the moment, but that build of his coming out, he went straight into Soul Weaver for the burst damage, and there you see it on Aror. And immediately Andy gets taken up, lands down, misses his ult, but he's not going to be too sad because they're still going to pick up the kill.
Yeah, pretty clean aside from the missed ultimate. In the backline, Snoopy happily taking some damage. In fact, goes in. Zapman very low. Can he get over the wall? No, and it looks like Best is going to be forced to relic as well.
Not going to get a chance to. Supernova! The surrender vote begins.
What?
And that's the end of the game. Eager have given up and called it a day in game 1.
There was a point at the 20-minute mark where I said that there was an 8-kill advantage. It wound up being 16 at the end.
There was a point halfway through that game when we said 4,500 gold lead. They're still not out of it, Eager. But then it just carried on barreling in Luminosity's favor. Let's go straight over to the first blood of that game, which was on Divios.
Yes, it was.
With a very good rotation, honestly, to the mid lane, where both solo lanes ended up turned up. Snoopy just didn't get there in time to stop BaRRaCCuDDa getting smashed in the back of the head.
So let's watch this. BaRRaCCuDDa taking a fair amount of damage here. There really isn't an escape at this level. You can see only level 9. The next time that we see this, it doesn't work out as well, given the fact that it was JeffHindla able to get that sprint off and get BaRRaCCuDDa out of danger with that slow immunity. But the first time it worked, and Divios got his team ahead early.
Got him ahead early, but they didn't keep him ahead long enough because soon after that we saw the Gold Fury where BaRRaCCuDDa picks up that triple kill.
Yeah, this is pretty intense, actually. So you're going to see the first kill go off as he baits Divios. Divios leaves this, and he probably should have stuck to BaRRaCCuDDa. The final hit of the Sleepy passive is Divios tries to save it, doesn't work, and then this long-range Stellar Burst, double kill.
Guess the double kill. Hopefully we see the end of this. No, we're not going to show Zapman getting a double himself. I would have liked to have seen that just once.
It was a good
play.
play.
But BaRRaCCuDDa had a fantastic performance. Undying in this game he was.
And right there, that was JeffHindla popping the sprint, ensuring that BaRRaCCuDDa could get away, and BaRRaCCuDDa getting that final kill at the end there. Beautiful.
Obviously, Amaterasu by Snoopy again. He had a good performance in it last time round. This time, same sort of thing. Good performance once again.
Snoopy getting a clean kill on the best, immediately jumping onto Zapman, and then finding a pretty strong kill.
Pretty strong kill as well for him, but is it going to be enough? That was the question, and it worked out very well for them as well. Picks up the kill there. And to be fair,
that was a steal.
We saw the one just before the surrender vote as well, where he picked up the double pretty much on the best and on Zapman, stopping him jumping over the wall.
That was game 1, though. Pretty clean from Luminosity, aside from the first blood, which I think Divios deserved. I mean, you look at that roster, you think, who gets first blood? Most likely Ravana.
What I'd like here out of Eager game 2, because the last 2 times we've seen them play sets, they've pretty much done what we call a salty run back with the same sort of picks.
Right.
I don't mind their picks so much. Maybe just a little bit more focused towards early game other than Divios, and they could probably find something. With Zeus and Kali early, it's kind of difficult, I guess.
So far, we've seen DJ play a lot of Fenrir, a lot of Nemesis, Kali. I want to see him play someone a little bit more tanky. Where was that Guan Yu that really put him on the map in Season 2?
I mean, yeah, he played Fenrir twice, Nemesis twice so far, and then that game Kali. So not much to find it. He wants to be this aggressive assassin.
He needs to be a tank. The strategy has got to change.
What mindset is Thor?
Thor would be all right.